I'm Laura Stowell. First off, I want to start by saying I am a little hoarse. So if my voice goes in and out during this, that's why. I just wanted to let you know up front. But other than that, we'll go ahead and get started. Today we'll be doing a business review over Varsity Spirit. Um, and yeah, so let's just go ahead and jump into it. First, we'll start off with company overview. Varsity Spirit LLC is located in Memphis, Tennessee. They have this nice building, as you can see here, to themselves, with their company founder slash president, Jeff Webb, being in there. He founded the company in 1974. And then with employees, Varsity has a leadership team that consists of 7 employees, meaning your president, your vice president, and your chiefs, plus 5,000 others in staff. Their staff consists of sales reps that go around and market their gear and uniforms to schools, and then they have staff which instructs at their summer camps, and then they have event administration which organizes and runs the camps over the summer. Next up, we'll do company history. We have in 1974, Varsity Spirit was founded by Jeff Webb, who was a cheerleader at the University of Oklahoma. And after he graduated, he wanted to pursue a career in cheerleading that created memories, brought cheerleaders together, and influenced the future leaders of cheerleading. Um, then in 2013, that is when BSN Sports, which is a gear provider for sports teams across America, and Varsity Spirit came together to become Varsity Brands to serve sports and spirit. Ultimately, this meaning that they can lean into covering all the elements of spirit, meaning flagline, band, pep squad, cheer, dance, every single one of spirit would be implemented into this. And then in 2014, Varsity Brands launched the Impact to provide schools with solutions that enhance pride and spirit, ultimately helping out schools get the spirit and the pride really back going at schools where it was decreasing at. And then ultimately, earlier in 2026, they launched the first ever Pro Cheer League. This consists of 4 teams that are the top cheerleaders across America. They tried out to get on this team. They are paid like a regular pro athlete should be. And they travel. They did multiple comps, and then they had their ultimate championship and crowned their first ever pro cheerleading champion earlier in the year. Um, Next, we'll get on to the mission statement and core values. The mission statement that Varsity puts out everywhere is elevate the student experience and create memorable experiences for young people. Obviously, this overall meaning to create lifelong lasting memories at camps and experiences for these cheerleaders that they'll never forget, hoping to have the impact that cheer had on Jeff Webb has on them. So it's kind of like a way for him to return and give everything that Cheers gave to him back to Cheer and others. The core values of Varsity Spirit would be service, passion, integrity, respect, innovation, and transparency. Um, Obviously, they define these words and constantly put them on show every day through service throughout the cheer community, working, helping, serving, anything they do. They always represent these very well. Um, Next, moving on into the future of Varsity Spirit, getting back more onto the Pro Cheer League. Varsity is changing the game by adding the Pro Cheer League. They plan to keep adding teams and expanding the Pro Cheer League after its first season has already added 2 teams just days after the season wrapped. So they just wrapped up their first season, crowned the inaugural champion. That was the Dallas Drive, and then they went on to add 2 more teams, with one of them being a team in Houston, Texas, just days after the season wrapped. Obviously, to be able to announce an announcement like that and already have it planned in the works and going shows how hardworking and how willing they are to take this brand and this business to the next level for cheer. Um, Next, we'll touch on the ethics and social responsibility. Varsity strives to provide a safe and fair workplace by following the ILO on fundamental human rights, FLA, Fair Labor Code, and OECD due diligence for RBC. Obviously, Varsity provides a very safe, very nurturing, welcoming environment for their employees, which is one of the main reasons I would love to be an employee at Varsity just because of how well they treat their employees. I've always heard good things. Never heard any bad things about the way they treat their employees, and they care very deeply about their employees, and I think that's a really good factor in a business. Next, we'll touch into the varsity financial overview of Varsity Spirit, ultimately with them owning the Varsity Spirit shop. Um, Chief Financial Officer would be Brett Gorza. He runs all their financialness. He is the main man that oversees everything and gives the final say in it. Revenue, they're bringing in 2.3 billion to 3 billion annually. Total funding is about 3 million for Varsity Spirit. And per employee revenue, they're bringing in about 140,000 per employee. And that would be from your administration staff bringing in money and registration from camps, your staff bringing in money from registration and camps, your sales reps bringing in money from marketing, the gear, the uniforms, all that going out, bringing all these new customers in. Um, Next, we'll touch on the product overview. Varsity Spirit obviously has a wide variety of cheer and dance apparel, while also making custom uniforms, practice gear, and all the accessories for cheer and dance. Um, So basically, they serve the cheer universe um, in every way possible. Um, when it comes to gear, everything, they have everything you need to be a cheerleader. Ultimately, if you need it, Varsity has it. Next, we'll dive into marketing overview. The strategy is always staying on top of the trends. If you look at their Instagram and TikTok, they're staying up with all the up-to-date trends. As soon as they're starting, they're posting them. And then also having local sales reps that meet with coaches face to face and athletes, get to talk, make the perfect gear, customize, try on. Face to face really is a great marketing strategy with able to put item to eye and hand with the customer. Partnerships is also another important part of RC Spirit. They have great partnerships, really important, promising partnerships. They have them with Walt Disney World Resort, which is where they lodge their cheerleaders during comps. ESPN, which is where they host the comps at ESPN World Complex, which is also located at Walt Disney Resort. And then they also partner with St. Jude's Resource Hospital. During September for Cancer Awareness for childhood cancer, that all of the gold proceeds benefits go to St. Jude's Resource Hospital. And then touching on the media, Varsity is more leaning on the digital media side more than they go to traditional. Um, if you pull up any of their medias, you'll see it's straight digital. There's a little mix of traditional on the website just for those coaches that are still, not up to date with all the trends and stuff. But they mostly use the website to draw their coaches. And then they use the social media to mainly draw athletes and the Gen Z millennial coaches. Promoting, Varsity sets up pop-up shops at every comp with sales reps there, constantly promoting, selling their products. Which and they also just added Varsity Beauty, which covers all your hair, makeup, and skincare needs as a cheerleader. So while you're at comps, you basically have everything you need. If you forget something, you're able to run to Varsity. So really, it was a great marketing strategy by them with that, adding that line, knowing that that is a constant forgetful thing on comp days. And just a cheerleader needs it. A cheerleader uses the stuff they see at Varsity, they're gonna buy it. Simple as that. Um, Competitor analyst. Today I compared Varsity to Rebel and All-Star World Championship. We'll start with strengths. Varsity, obviously, they're well known by everyone. They are the number one cheer brand. You think Varsity. They host the major events. Everyone talks about them. They're always high quality. I've never heard bad things about their comps. They're always really good quality. They run smoothly. Um, and then we'll touch on the strengths for Rebel. They're very trendy, um, which Rebel just came up in the recent years, mostly focusing on the All-Star cheer world, really focusing in on the theme uniforms that All-Star teams use, with most of their routines being themes. They have theme uniforms to match. Ultimately, Rebel has covered that pretty much the past couple of years, and they're totally fully customizable, which also helps. Um, and then the strengths of the All-Star World Championship would be it's a very personal comp. It means a lot to All-Star cheerleaders. That is the number one comp to them. It's very deep in their heart. It's the top teams over America. So really, if you when you win in that competition, it means more than winning at another competition, just because of how high the skill level set is at that particular competition. Um, Weaknesses, obviously, varsity is very expensive, and it's not as personal. These events, they're really can go either way with teams. So they're really just like, yeah, NCAA, but these teams, like anyone can get into NCAA All-Star. Multiple teams can be there. It's not as limited access compared to the All-Star World Championship. So there is that part. Um, Rebel would obviously they're a smaller company trying to fight up against such a bigger brand known as Varsity is not a fair fight. They have less events compared to Varsity. As you know, Varsity has events all throughout the year. Um, Rebel only having like pop-up shops, little get-togethers, stuff like that. Um, and then the weakness for All-Star World Championship would have to be limited access to the comps. They're very hard to get into. Um, as I said, NCAA All-Star is very more easy to get into, and it's only one event. So they only host the one comp a year, while as Rebel and Varsity are hosting multiple events a year. Overall, I would give Varsity a 5 just because they know what they're doing. They carry the cheer world very well. They're number one, obviously. We know this. You can't argue facts. So Rebel, I would give them a 4 just because there's obviously room to grow. I would love to see them branch into the competition side of things like how Varsity does. I feel like if they branch into that, it really could bring them up and put them on the same pedestal as Varsity and give them more of a fair fight. Um, All-Star World Championship obviously is going to be low at 3 with them only hosting one event with very limited access. So it's not a very accessible event. So, I mean, when there's better events that you can get at Varsity, you can get in to multiple comps at Varsity, then not being able to get into just one comp at the All-Star World Championship. And yeah, we'll get in. And then here's all my resources that I used. And thank you so much for listening.